Today to discuss the Safe Streets Master Plan pre-proposal. This is an opportunity for you to meet staff and to ask some questions. I'll begin with some introductions. I'd like to introduce Kate Morley, our Executive Director for Metro Plan, Chris Fair, who is the Transportation Planner for the City of Flagstaff, David Wessel, who is our Transportation Planning Manager for Metro Plan, and Mendia Gonzalez, our Transportation Planner for Metro Plan. Also joining us, we have other staff present, Jeff Bauman, Transportation Director and Traffic Engineer with the City of Flagstaff, Sarah Dechter, who is the Comprehensive Planner for the City of Flagstaff, Martin Ince, our Transportation Manager and Senior Lead for the City of Flagstaff, as well as Jackie Lenners, who is Deputy General Manager for Mountain Line, and Nate Reisner. I'd like to turn it over to Kate. Before I do that, I am going to do a roll call of all of the participants who've joined the meeting. And as I call your name, if you can add your information in the chat, I'd like you to note your firm name, as well as your email and phone number. Caitlin Bird, Harley Haithcock, Charles Alexander, Chris Gravel, Dana Wall, Donna Lewandowski, Fred Sola, Guillermo Cortez, Estella Hollander, Pat Pack, Kelia Schumacher, Jason Kelly, Logan Mormondo, Jonathan Marked. These are the folks who have joined us in the meeting. We have a few other external participants joining us: Farah Dang, Allison Jewell, Missy Kennedy, Tracy Brown, and Tracy McMillan. Again, if you are an interested vendor in this project, please note your firm name, your name, as well as your contact information, including your email and phone number, in the chat so that we have a record of your attendance. And now I'll turn it over to Kate Morley, our Executive Director, for opening remarks.
Thank you, Tammy. I noticed a pop-up said there might be a couple more folks in the lobby too.
Thank you.
No problem. Welcome, everyone. We're really glad that you could join us today for the pre-proposal meeting for the Safe Streets Master Plan. I'm Kate Morley, the Executive Director of Metro Plan. And I just wanted to kick it off by really emphasizing
I'll see you later.
Is somebody unmuted there? The importance of this project to the Metro Plan region. It's the largest undertaking that Metro Plan has ever done in terms of a single planning effort, and we really anticipate it to be transformational to the region, helping implement a variety of policies that our partners have adopted, from housing and affordability to climate action, and of course, a root in safety. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to our project manager, Dave Wessel.
Thank you, Kate. And then thank you again to everybody who's joined us here. If we can get down to the agenda slide, please, Tammy. Just briefly, my name is David Wessel. I'm planning manager here at Metro Plan. Been through a few of these long-range plans, but nothing quite like this. So today we've been through welcome and introductions. We'll hit on the purpose and schedule, a little overview, brief overview of the grant and the scope, and talking about the different partners involved here and the skill sets that we all want to see brought to bear on this project, review the scoring criteria, and then we'll get to Q&A. Hopefully we'll get through this beginning part in about 20 minutes. So next slide, please. As Tammy mentioned earlier, really here today to clarify the scope, hear some of your questions about that, provide answers to the degree we can today. As you see on the schedule here, we'll take questions until noon on the 16th, and we will try to get back to you with FAQ and perhaps amendments to the RFP if we need those by the end of next week. Over the summer, we expect replies or proposals by the 16th of July. And over the summer, we'll conduct our review and interviews. And if all goes well, we'll have an award notice to proceed in November. Typically in these things, the other opportunity here is to see for all of you to see who's shown up and who's interested. And so appreciate you entering your information in the chat. Next slide, please. So for the grant, this is an SS4A, Safe Streets and Roads for All supplemental planning grant. This is kind of the tail wagging the dog in that this is a supplement to the Vulnerable Road User Safety Action Plan that is underway and should be wrapping up by the end of the summer. Part of the effort there is to tie many plans together in a unified document. We have a regional transportation safety plan. We have an active transportation master plan. And I'll back up and say our safety plan nearly met the implementation aspect of this. So we'll be pulling it over the finish line. The city was able to amend their active transportation master plan and meet the qualifications for an action plan. ADOT has several plans out there as well. And we'd really like to unify those and make those the basis of planning, safety planning for this master plan. A Metro Plan received the grant. We are the direct recipient. This is not pass-through money. So our contract and contract management is directly through us, and compliance is managed through us. The grant and scope has multiple components, a complete street guidelines, which we want to see strong graphics, the implications spelled out across disciplines from the traditional transportation planning and land use, but also operations and maintenance, fire, and other operations impacted by transportation. We want to see policy and code revisions emerge out of this that are going to be critical to the successful implementation. And whereas this is all based or to be based on the draft Regional Plan 2045, which is in process and nearing completion, if there are elements that are discovered that could improve Regional Plan 2045 or make implementation of transportation easier, considerations for policy amendments there are welcome too. Then we want a web-based tool which provides good public access to project information for developers and the development community. So we all have mutual understanding of initial expectations, and provides links and cross-references to a variety of components, including things like the Complete Street Guidelines. Next slide, please. There are some things, all of our children are special. Some of them are more special than others. One of an omission from our objective statement in the RFP was this comment on travel demand management. It comes straight from the draft Regional Plan 2045, and that we are looking to incorporate TDM philosophy and policies into engineering and land use codes and processes. So not only do we want to be cognizant of safety and baking safety into everything we do here, we want to also be aware of TDM and really making sure that we're putting that approach into all of these things. There's multiple components. They need to be integrated and interrelated. We expect there's going to be some reiteration as we step from one to the next and then have to go back to the previous one to make adjustments. Strong public participation is expected. If you're familiar with the International Association of Public Participation, I think I got that wrong, but close. They have a spectrum. You'll hear more about that. We really want to achieve the involve level of public participation, and Mandia will share some more later. Implementation and financial implications. The phrase here, aspirations launched from fiscal constraint. We want to be looking at what we can practically achieve in the next 20, 23 years. But we also don't want to foreclose on more aspirational projects that are beyond our fiscal ability in that time period, nor do we want to just simply hope that those things will happen and make plans for the next 20 years that are dependent on simply hopes. So this is really want to take a hard look at these financial implications. And then perhaps the most critical element here is this is a city plan first. The city is stepping up with the large majority of the match on this grant. The city is looking for its first ever transportation master plan out of this. And then it is a metro plan, regional transportation plan second. That ties into some of those fiscal constraint expectations. But first and foremost, we want to make sure the city gets what it's looking for out of this. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Chris. Chris is with the city, and he's going to speak a little bit more about the relationships between MetroPlan, the city, and our other partners. Chris?
Great. Thank you, Dave. Hi, everybody online. My name is Chris Spare. I'm a transportation planner with the city, and I have the pleasure of co-project managing this with Dave and Mandia. So we'll highlight partner relationships and start with city needs and expectations. I think Dave did a great job of highlighting the emphasis on this being a city plan first. There's throughout the RFP, there's a lot of the city needs expressed, but we want to highlight that the master plan needs to meet specific plan requirements in order to improve our ability to enforce the document and also to maintain truth to Flagstaff and be an appropriate plan for the city. Also understand that the project is co-managed between MetroPlan, so it'll be Dave and Mandia on MetroPlan side. They're in charge of administering the project. And then on the city side, it'll be myself. And a future consultant can expect to work with a project oversight committee. This is an interagency committee predominantly comprised of city folks. It includes MetroPlan and the city's transit agency, Mountain Line. And we'll expect a consultant to offer advice, guidance, and counsel on conflict resolution as we move through the process with that group. Next, please. So we'll highlight some desired skills. First, facilitation and conflict resolution. This will apply to the project oversight committee, as well as outside of that. There will be several city divisions that need to be managed, as well as escalation to potentially city council as we hammer out some of the early details of the direction of this plan. As far as change management, it's important to understand that we are looking to integrate new resources into the city's existing processes. So not only will we be trying to make good materials that fill the purposes that we need, but we need to understand that we're moving from existing systems towards a future one, and we need somebody who's able to help us do that smoothly and keep things running in the interim. Of course, technical transportation and traffic planning expertise, engineering and implementation is built in. And I will turn it over to Mandia to cover public outreach.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mandia Gonzalez, Transportation Planner for Metro Plan. I just want to present a little bit of information on public participation. Listed on the left are a variety of plans that have happened over the past 5 years, have had very robust public outreach. So this will be a foundation for the consultant to use, through these different outreach tactics for these plans. We've obviously identified the community's needs and their support for comfortable and safe transportation facilities. As Dave mentioned earlier, looking at IAP2, our goal overall is to reach involve. However, we do understand that each of these tasks are separate and unique. And so if there are ways to get us beyond evolve, we'd certainly like to learn more about that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mandia and Chris. Just to speak briefly about our scoring criteria for the proposals and then the interviews. So we'll be looking at assigned staff. We are looking for projects that align with the deliverables here. And our focus will be on successful implementation, not simple completion, not successful adoption, but where are your clients actively using plans that you have completed or contributed to and applying them successfully? That's where we'll be applying our focus. As far as staff resumes, I want to clarify, we did get one question in already. The body of your proposal is limited to 30 pages. And so we want kind of abbreviated resumes within that 30 pages. If you feel compelled to add more or make more available, you can put those unabridged, if you will, resumes in an appendix, and we won't count that towards the page limit. We do want you to follow guidance in the RFP on the pages there, but there's an opportunity for you to expand. So 30 points for staff resumes. Understanding and approach is your chance to really tell us how you're going to deliver these for us in a creative and instructive way. And then finally, value and fee. We did divulge a fair amount of information about the grant award and match. And so what we're looking for is for you to put your money, our money, will become your money, where your mouth is. Show us how you'll implement your approach and the quality of people and the time being dedicated to each task. Which of those tasks do you see as priority and demonstrated in that value and fee proposal? Next slide, please. So we will be, as mentioned, the schedule reviewing proposals over the summer. We will shortlist 3 teams, select them for an interview. The format will be hybrid. We'll want to see the PM and really the PM only in person, with the balance of the team online. In the RFP, it sets out this finalist respondents team interview and the strategic fit. That interview, we really want you to be able to demonstrate that you know what we want, maybe even better than we do. As far as the strategic fit, do you know how we need it delivered? This is the city's first master plan. Convince us that when it's all said and done, it's going to be implemented and implementable. Next slide, please. So we're about right on time. I'm going to get started with questions and answers. And this is the protocol. We'd like you to, if you have a question, raise your hand virtually. Wait to be called on. We'll repeat the question back to make sure that we understand it. And you can correct us if we don't. We're then going to do just kind of a brief pause and look at a check-in, make sure that this is a question we're ready to answer. If so, we'll provide you the answer. And when we are done answering you, we're going to make, again, a brief pause and see if any of the agency staff in the room with us today have concerns about the way Chris or I have answered the question. If everything's copacetic, we'll go to the next question. If not, we have a break room set up. We'll step aside briefly and discuss this. If we can reach a better answer quickly, we'll come back and provide it. If not, you're going to hear a lot of "we'll get back to you." My hope is that we hear as many questions as possible, as opposed to spending a lot of time answering a few. And then you see that we'll take questions up to the 16th, and we will respond by the 20th. So just as a reminder to the agency staff, if you have concerns about the way that we answered, just simply raise your hand, and then we will go to a breakout room for a discussion. So with that, if you have questions, please raise your hand. Okay, I see Nina.
like Nina,
Okay,
right?
go ahead.
Hi,
Go ahead.
David and team. I just had a quick question for you. What is the importance for MetroPlan of having someone local or having a local presence on your team throughout this project?
Thank you for that question. So again, is it important to have a local presence? I'd say it's going to be helpful in that we're looking for these complete street guidelines to show us graphically how our transportation system is interacting with our land use proposals and plans, and understanding some of that quality and character, and being able to translate the transportation to the land use in that capacity, having some local knowledge or ability, I think would be helpful. Seeing any staff have concerns about that? Answer. Seeing none. Next question.
Keela, go ahead. Keela.
Hi, this is Kelia Schumacher with Data Axle. Reading through the RFP, there were a couple of comments around, collecting necessary support data and GIS data. I'm curious, would the team be looking for understanding, the residential demographics and business firmographics in that area to help, obviously, with the long range travel and transportation planning? Or do you have more specific needs in mind from a data perspective?
That is an excellent question. We'll expand on that for you. I think we're going to be looking to consultant teams to advise and counsel us on this. I think a lot of that. There is a fair amount of demographic work. I think we need to explore what interesting. I have not heard the frame firmographic, but makes sense. I think we need to examine that a little bit to get back on a better answer as to how much we might need something like that. Chris, do you want to add anything to that?
Not exactly, Dave. I think you did a good job, and I think we have the opportunity to talk internally and maybe hash that through a bit more to publish in the FAQs.
Yeah, and I know we said we could go to a breakout room. I'm not sure that we've got, that might be a little more time than we have in a breakout room. So let's go on to the next question.
Thank you for that.
Go ahead, Phyllis.
Hi, good morning or afternoon at this point, everyone. Good to see you. Have a question in regards to the policy and code adjustments. I think we all know sometimes getting that final approval process can be lengthy. So what are you guys looking for really through this adoption process? Are you wanting to get from a code and policy requirement of language going forward that would then go through the process of adoption? Or are you looking for the full adoption through this process?
Excellent question. You know, I believe our preference is that we would get through the adoption process. We certainly want the language crafted and ready for consideration. We do understand that some of that can be debated at length. And I think at that point, we'd have to, sit down with the consulting team and kind of negotiate deliverables and whether or not we're going to actually hit our deadlines. But I believe we are looking for adoption at this point. And to see if Chris has anything to add, and then if our team has questions or concerns.
Nothing to add from me, Dave. And
Any of the team raising their hand?
So just a clarifying question, maybe. Are we talking about the adoption of the document or adoption of subsequent implementation, like engineering standards or zoning code revisions?
It would be the actual, in my response, Martin, looking for actual adoption of the code revision, not the adoption of the larger plan that has recommendations in it. So it's, at the end of the day, we want a master plan that's adopted, and we want code and revisions that are adopted by the city.
I think we should take a conversation of this answer offline and answer it in writing. Because I think we should not have attempted to answer this question. So I'm sorry. I don't think that we've answered it correctly.
We will retract that answer and we will get back to you with a more detailed response.
Perfect. Thank you.
go ahead, Dawn.
Hi, thanks. I just need someone to add me to the chat. A simple question.
No problem. We'll get on that for you.
Actually, can I be added as well? Kelia Schumacher, please.
Yeah. Were you guys successfully added to the chat?
I'm working on that now.
All right. In the meantime, go ahead, Estella.
Thank you. Just a quick question to clarify the timeline for when responses to questions will be. So we've submitted a couple questions, and so just want to clarify that those answers will not be till June 20th, or are you planning on responding to questions prior?
We're going to respond in total on the 20th.
Okay, thank you.
We got Charles Alexander.
Hey, good afternoon. Thank you. I have two questions. I'll ask the easy one first. I'm wondering if you already have a signed agreement with USDOT for the SS4A funds for this project. Then I'll hold on my second.
Yes. Yes, we do.
Okay, very good. Thank you. My second question, in your presentation, Dave, you and Chris described the expectations and roles for Metro Plan and for the city. I'm wondering if you can describe your expectations and roles for ADOT in the county, please.
Yeah, I'll do my best. We have Nate Reisner on the line too. And we may break out if we needs to add to that. So I'll start with the county. So if you're familiar with the MPO region, we include only a small part of the county that has several communities like Donny Park, Winona, Kachina Mountain Air, Belmont, and Fort Valley. We will be doing a plan for the entire region. We will look for the city to adopt its master plan, the master plan for those areas within the city limits, but having confidence in terms of what's going to happen outside of the region that will affect those roadways. As far as the county is concerned, and this goes towards Mountain Line as well, these are largely advisory to them, recommendations that they can take and formally adopt if they wish, but that would, but we're not looking for our consultants to comply with those processes per se. As far as ADOT is concerned, the part we want to have that discussion early on with the consultant and with ADOT in terms of the best way to address planning for their roadways. We have had challenges in the past where city ambitions for land use perhaps are not always compatible as we'd like them to be with ADOT policy. And so we want to have that discussion in terms of what to expect from and with ADOT down the road. It needs to happen soon. It needs to be established soon. And then we can proceed. My concern there, and then I'll wrap up, is if we're going to plan for a robust multimodal system, particularly for active transportation, and I'll throw in transit too, and then hope that ADOT is going to change policies to accommodate those, that to me puts the larger plan at risk of success. And so we want to plan accordingly and put strategies in place to bring things into alignment as best we can over time. I'm going to look to Nate first. Nate, was that a satisfactory answer?
Dave, I don't believe Nate's online.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll trust that we got that right. Any other staff have concerns over that answer?
I think that we're good.
Yeah. All right.
Any more questions online? I'm not seeing any hands raised. Okay, Jesse.
Hi, thanks. I was wondering if you could explain a little bit more, or perhaps again, the sort of under the theme of safety, safe streets, and safe streets for all, that connects the tasks.
Yeah, thank you for the question. So, in the Safe Streets for All program, they really would like to see safety, and I describe it as baked in to all of our processes. So as we develop our complete street guidelines, are there appropriate safety features or practices that are appropriate to that particular context that might be identified? Prioritization as we select projects for implementation. Code revisions that bring safety features into the mix a little more explicitly. The TIA process, making sure that it's identifying and safety issues and getting those addressed through the private development process, as well as in line with public investments that are expected. So it's really looking, soup to nuts in terms of the process and how we develop it and how we implement it to make sure safety is present throughout. And if there are, additional strategies or other things that we should employ, we'd like to hear those as well. I will kind of re-emphasize there's been a lot of work on safety. So if you are bringing something new to the table, we'd love to hear about it. If there's, but we really, there's been years of work and pretty recently on this. We don't necessarily want to go back and redo all that analysis.
I'll just make one addition. This is Kate. Dave, I think, did a good job framing how we want safety to underlie all aspects. You framed it as for the grant, but I would just add that Metro Plan does have a Vision Zero policy and a value to reduce deaths and serious injury. And I believe our partners all have similar goals. So it's policy at all the organizations to be moving safety forward as well.
Thank you, Kate.
Great. All right. We will jump to our next question. Vamshi.
Afternoon, everyone. Two questions. Did I hear right that you're wrapping up your 2045 Metro Plan RTP?
No, it's the regional plan. It's the city and county. It's their land use comprehensive plan that's being wrapped up. The public comment period is done. I believe they've had some hearings. They're hoping to see adoption, I think, by December. Sarah, do you want to speak a little more explicitly to that?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah Dector. I'm the comprehensive planning manager for the city. And I work very closely with Melissa Shaw, who's the county long-range planner. We have been working in parallel and together as kind of co-leaders of the regional plan process. And then also we've been on each other's teams for updating the comprehensive plan. So those are moving forward, and we expect that. I don't know that she's got an exact timeline. I think she is looking by the end of the year because it's a major plan amendment to update their comp plan. But the last time I spoke to her, there's some flexibility, but we do expect that by May of next year, both of those documents will be updated. The 60-day public review draft is the best one to look at right now for the county comprehensive plan. And for the draft regional plan, we expect to put out a public hearing draft to start the city public hearings in July.
Thank you. The second question was, is there a timeline you're looking for to have this project fully completed?
I'm going to ask Kate to speak to that. She's a little more familiar with the grant requirements. Kate, is that okay?
Sure. I think we're looking for proposals to tell us what you can deliver. I think just anecdotally, the longer processes stretch on, they also tend to lose momentum and speed. I think technically under the grant agreement provisions, we had 5 years, I think, Dave, to complete that grant. We executed that grant agreement in December. So we're 6 months into that, but hopefully we'll be well ahead of that in terms of actual delivery.
Thank you, Kate.
Thank you.
And let me just clarify, Kate, just that's closeout of the grant. So there's got to be some
Yeah.
lag
Final
time.
invoicing would have to be a couple months before that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, we'll go to Chris.
Yes, thank you. Just one or two quick questions. Given this is a four-agency, multi-agency deal, or not a deal, arrangement and collaborative project effort, is there a specific vision for sharing project information and public involvement? Will MetroPlan, for example, be the host for the plan? Or are you thinking more of a standalone project page where it may link to other key agencies in terms of how to drive public traffic and information about the project and plan?
I think we're really looking to you to come up with what you think is going to be most effective in terms of communicating with the public. And there's pros and cons to standalone versus embedded with one or multiple agencies. And so I'd like to hear your recommendation. I think you had a second question.
No, that's fine, Dave. David, appreciate that. Thank you.
Great. Okay, next question, Guillermo.
Good afternoon, everybody. Maybe following up on that schedule question, with some of those areas of town, southeast and southwest, major acreage, and some of those moving forward with some plans, rezones, how does that fit into the schedule, or what kind of coordination will you guys have with some of these large private owners? Or how do you anticipate dealing with that?
Yeah, I'm taking a note here.
Can I try and answer a little, Dave? And then we'll probably also want to follow up with that question in writing, Guillermo, because I think it's broader than that. But my feeling is that the city, we're maintaining some pretty complex relationships in some of our greenfield areas with property owners. And I'm sure that we're going to want to make sure that they still have a single point of contact. That's an important part of our organizational culture. So there will probably be some liaisoning for city staff on behalf of this project, as there are several going on that affect some of the greenfield sites that are looking to develop in maybe the mid and near term. And we might want to, we'll check that and follow up with it in writing too.
Yeah, and I'll thank you, Sarah, for that. I think that's important. We'll confirm or add to that in writing. I will expand that, we do expect some build out analysis and that coordination with property owners. Those large property owners in particular, as you mentioned, Guillermo, will be important to make sure that we're reasonably accounting for them.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, we'll jump to the next question, Mary.
Hi, thank you. I noticed that the RFP doesn't have any goals or requirements for MBE, DBE. And I wanted to know if there were internal, I assume that's for federal funding reasons. And I just wanted to know if there were internal aspirational goals. And I guess a follow-up to that is the outreach to minorities or marginalized groups going to be a priority in the engagement strategy?
So to answer your first question, we consulted with Federal Highways on the DBE. There is no goal expectation there, and we do not have an internal goal. DBEs are always welcome. As far as outreach to underserved or underrepresented groups, yes, that's still, Sarah mentioned, this is part of our culture, and that remains part of our culture. So we do want to hear how you will reach out to those groups. Kate, do you have any concerns about the DBE answer?
No concerns about that. And I would just add on the outreach goal, Metro Plan has a goal that our outreach demographics reflect our community demographics.
Thank you, Kate.
The only thing I would add to that is the City of Flagstaff does have a priority-based budgeting website, which I'll put in the chat and that we can send out. And we do have key community priorities, and one of them is inclusive and engaged community. So I think we are looking at what your strategy for inclusion is, again, as Dave said, just as a part of our organizational culture, but we recognize that this is federally funded and that there may be reasons that the agencies have different direction.
Thank you.
We have a question in the chat, just to follow up. Can you repeat the grant closeout date?
Yeah, so we have a 5-year closeout. We executed in December, and we would need final invoicing a couple months before that. However, we hope that we move the project along faster than that.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead, Fred.
Thank you all. Flagstaff has a plan to be carbon neutral by 2030, and that corresponds roughly with the time frame by which this project ends. But you haven't referenced that in documents or in the materials. Do you want this project to be inclusive of that focus?
Fred, we're gonna get back to you on that one. And Sarah, I know you're probably chomping at the bit to reply, but I'd like us to consult and make sure. And we're primarily about implementing the regional plan, the draft, as she mentioned, and we'll get back to you all in terms of its focus on that carbon neutrality 2030 goal and how to, how we expect this plan to respond to that.
Okay, thank you.
It's a good question.
Do we have any more questions online? I'm not seeing any hands. All right, seeing none, I think that we're good to proceed, Dave.
Okay, well, thank you all. Excellent questions. We will, if we'll go to the next slide, please. Our, next steps. If other questions occur to you over the next few days, please get them to us by noon on the 16th. We will be working to respond to all the questions that we receive. And we also reserve the right. This is a very large project with an unusually large scope with lots of eyes on it. And if we discover something that we think needs clarification, we'll be adding those to that FAQ, or maybe it's occasionally asked questions. And that'll come out on the 20th. I don't know that I heard anything that requires an amendment to the regional, to the RFP, but we'll have that discussion as well. Otherwise, just look for an addendum that has these answers to your questions. Here's the schedule. Again, hoping to do the review and interviews over the summer. You can see that week of interviews from the 18th to the 22nd. So, blag out some time. I think we're expecting an hour. Again, project manager only in person, and want the rest of your team or those that you feel are critical to be online. And if things go well, we'll have an award in November, a notice to proceed later that month. And then the clock will start ticking. So appreciate that. Tammy, you want to wrap us up?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Dave reiterated the deadlines just one more time for everyone's reference. If you would like to submit a question, please do so by noon. You can respond to the email address that's been provided in the proposal, request for proposal, and responses will be posted. For those of you who were not able to join the chat, I see that Dawn, you were able to add your information in the chat. Kelia, I have your information noted that you were in attendance. Is there anyone else who was not able to join the chat and record your firm name and contact information? I'm not seeing any responses, so I will go ahead and note that the meeting is ending. We're closing the meeting at 1:52 p.m. and I will end the recording. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you all.
On our website, if you'd like to review it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.